That was a tough secret to sit on, because I have a reputation for ruining things, and I strategically have done no press.
You're a little loose-lipped around MCU
loose-lipped
secrets.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel just released the Daredevil Born Again trailer. It's amazing, as we all wanted it to be. Everybody now asking, where's Spider-Man while everything is going on during this? Is he going to have some kind of post-credit scene at the end of the series setting up Spider-Man 4? And the crazy thing is that this original version of the Spider-Man 4 movie that's being reported was actually supposed to connect to all these things and be way more of a street-level self-contained movie. The plot is absolutely wild. It is bonkers, but does support a lot of theories that you all had up to the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. I'll explain why that got canceled in the first place, what the new version of the movie is supposed to look like, because as Tom Holland was joking about his reputation for spoiling things, sitting on Marvel Secrets, spoiler bros for life, he also talked about liking the script for the movie as it existed, but Kevin Feige absolutely hating it and demanding that they keep working on it to make it better, which I honestly think Kevin Feige is probably in the right on this. Once you hear how ridiculous some of the original storyline was going to be, you will probably support Kevin Feige over Tom Holland in this. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. We're actually in the middle of doing the ticket giveaway for Captain America Brave New World because they are on sale now. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and post all your reaction to this canceled version of the Spider-Man 4 movie after we dig through this.
The pedal is to the metal. We're trying to get it going as soon as possible. But there's still a lot of moving pieces that need to come together for us to hit the ground running.
Peeking into the Indiana Jones-sized warehouse of deleted scenes and alternate versions of movies that Marvel has, like there are just warehouses and warehouses full of these kinds of things. What I'll do is I'll name the first winner from the giveaway during this video too, but the giveaway will continue until after Captain America comes out in theaters. But I've already done a few Spider-Man 4 videos this past year following Marvel's development through the utter implosion of the Sony Marvel Universe in all their Spider-Man spin-off movies. Everyone press F to pay respects to the Sony Marvel Universe. At least they tried. Even though a lot of those movies are garbage, Sony did have some bangers in there, like the Spider-Verse movies are amazing. The Venom movies actually did earn a lot of money. Even if you didn't like the Venom movies, they still did earn money for Sony. Most of the news lately has been about Marvel paying off the Venom symbiote storyline for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, fitting the movie in between Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars because Tom Holland's Marvel contract has him appearing in all three movies, so there is a bit of trickery that they're going to have to play with how they fit the movie's timeline in with everything. But the original version of the movie was meant to be vastly different, and it was going to be released under very different circumstances too, featuring a very different group of characters and villains. And maybe it's not a surprise, but it sounds like Marvel and Sony got caught in a Hollywood slap fight game over what the story would be, all because Sony had seen its own Marvel universe slowly dying on the vine, and the last two solo Spider-Man movies earned well over $1 billion. So Sony was desperate for that sweet Spider-Man money. But rewind to 2022, right after Spider-Man No Way Home came out in theaters, Doctor Strange's second spell erases all knowledge of Peter Parker's existence from everyone's minds in the MCU, but not Spider-Man, so everyone on Earth, Doctor Strange included, only knows that there is a Spider-Man out there, remembers fighting with him during Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, but nobody remembers that he's also secretly Peter Parker. If it wasn't clear, the only people the spell did not work on were people that were in other dimensions when the spell went down, other universes, like the TVA is a good example, people like Deadpool and Wolverine who were in other universes when that happened, and because of all those scenes, we know that Deadpool has met a version of Spider-Man.
Stop it.
But at the time, Kevin Feige and Marvel started talking about bringing Spider-Man back to basics, doing a more ground-level, smaller sequel movie where he's more of a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man because he spent all those years being in all the big Avengers movies, being in Iron Man's shadows so much, so they wanted to break him out and make more of a traditional Spider-Man movie where it's just Spider-Man solving Spider-Man problems, dealing with the ramifications of Doctor Strange's spell by focusing his life entirely on being Spider-Man and ignoring all the other Peter Parker aspects of his life, like spending all of his time being Spider-Man 24/7 trying to help people. Sounds like a totally solid Spider-Man movie they're cooking up there, but then Kevin Feige says the plot of Daredevil Born Again is going to directly influence the plot of Spider-Man 4, so this leads to a lot of speculation. Both Daredevil Born Again, Spider-Man 4 got delayed, but Daredevil was always meant to come out before Spider-Man 4. Most of us took this to mean that the Mayor Kingpin storyline would be active during Spider-Man 4. that he would still be mayor of New York City, and Spider-Man would have to deal with some of Kingpin's anti-vigilante campaign against all the heroes. We'll start to see this during Daredevil Born Again Season 1, but in the comic book story that they're adapting for that, Kingpin campaigns on an anti-vigilante platform, saying that he's going to clean up the city, getting rid of all the dangerous vigilantes that are quote-unquote harming people, when really he just uses it as an excuse to go after people like Spider-Man, Daredevil, the Punisher, all the heroes that he wanted to get rid of before but couldn't. Meaning that during Spider-Man 4, Kingpin would have to be at least one of the sub-bosses. It also implied Daredevil would show up again and they'd pay off some of their scenes during Spider-Man No Way Home, teaming up for more street-level action. Sounds great, sounds like a solid Spider-Man movie. But according to some of these more detailed reports on what the plot of that version of the movie would have been, it gets way crazier than I ever would have imagined. Reportedly, in that original version of the movie, the street-level version of the movie, it would have been Spider-Man teaming up with, get this, Punisher to fight Bruce Banner Hulk. Does that not sound crazy? Scorpion and Shocker supposedly were going to be part of the movie. I'm assuming Kingpin would have been responsible for hiring them and getting them out of prison to go after Spider-Man, Punisher, Daredevil, the others, and they would have been slowly the beginning of the MCU version of the Sinister Six, and they would have just dealt with that in future Spider-Man sequels. We actually do see a lot of Punisher during the Daredevil Born Again trailer. He's a major character in Season 1 of that, and I think he's supposed to return in Season 2 next year. Marvel is in the process of bringing back all those Netflix Defenders characters. All the Netflix shows are now canon to the MCU as of the Echo series. That was them officially canonizing everything to the MCU. Punisher is just the next one to come back. Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, even Iron Fist will probably eventually come back at some point. There's even a really big Hulk Easter egg during the Daredevil Born Again trailer, making some of these Spider-Man Punisher vs. the Hulk reports sound like they could have been true at one point. You also have to keep in mind that when Marvel's developing movies, the plot changes so much that you wind up with 20, 50 different versions of the movie before they ever roll camera and start filming. And even when they're filming, sometimes to the detriment of the movie, the script changes every single day. Tom Holland told stories on Spider-Man No Way Home about how they would go into filming for a day and the scenes would completely change one day to the next. So he would go into a big scene not really knowing what they were going to be doing till the last possible minute. That is why there's so many deleted scenes and alternate storylines for Spider-Man No Way Home. I did a whole separate video on those. Good example is Norman Osborn using Iron Man's armor pieces to make himself more goblin armor in a big Iron Patriot comic book Easter egg. That's also what all those early Spider-Man symbiote scenes were for. These are all deleted scenes from earlier versions of the movie before they locked down Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. There have been a couple Punisher Hulk crossover stories in the past, both where they've worked against each other and with each other. Really good example is during the Joe Fixit Grey Hulk era. Marvel almost did Grey Hulk during Avengers Age of Ultron. You probably remember this from several years ago. After the movie came out, Joss Whedon told this story about how they were doing the Iron Man vs. the Hulk fight during post-production when they were tuning visual effects for the Hulk. They kept pushing it to make him look madder and madder and madder, and eventually his skin just turned gray. And he's like, well, I don't want to do Grey Hulk because then you have to explain why he's gray. And Avengers Age of Ultron is already famous for all the deleted scenes. There was this huge war that Joss Whedon fought with Marvel and Kevin Feige over all the deleted scenes. So he didn't want to fight to keep Grey Hulk in the movie and just told Kevin Feige, you can use this Grey Hulk twist in a future movie if you want. Joe Fixit was actually a weaker version of the Hulk in the comics who worked for the mob in Las Vegas and made up for what he lacked in peak strength of the Green Hulk in a way more cruel intelligence that the Green Hulk did not have. But the way these reports about the original plot of the movie go down, it sounds like the Hulk that Spider-Man and Punisher would have been fighting would have been the Bruce Banner mindless Green Hulk. So they would have also had to explain how he went from being Professor Hulk and super chilled out to being mindless Hulk again. There would have had to be some huge twist. Early on, when we first saw him, I think a lot of people were expecting the reveal of his son Scar to lead to a World War Hulk situation down the road where someone tries to kill his son or something happens to him, and that's what causes Banner to absolutely lose it. Supposedly, there still is a World War Hulk's storyline movie that Marvel is setting up longer term, but it'll be different from the comic book World War Hulk story, and it wouldn't release till after Secret Wars. I think that's why we're seeing so much Hulk stuff in all the different movies and TV shows right now, so many more members of the Hulk family from the comics just showing up all over the place all of a sudden. But personally, I'm kind of glad they're not doing this Spider-Man and Punisher versus the Hulk storyline. I'd love to see Punisher show up in the movies at some point, but if we're gonna have Hulk fighting anybody as the pitch of a movie, it was like the big twist of a movie, make it be Wolverine first. Like, do the Hulk versus Wolverine movie first before you have Hulk fight a whole bunch of other people. Currently, with all the changes so far, it sounds like Spider-Man 4 is going to pay off the Symbiote storyline in some way, but the main villains have changed, and for a little while it did seem like they'd also try to add the Knull God of Symbiotes storyline to the movie too, but that could have changed since the death of the Sony Marvel Universe. Sony is in the middle of rebooting that and will come back with a new focus on Venom and eventually live-action Miles Morales and their animated movies, basically Sony rebooting their Marvel Universe with all the stuff that did make them money. Which is actually a smart plan, like just double down on the stuff that was actually working for you. And because Spider-Man 4 is releasing between Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars, and Tom Holland is going to be in all 3 of those movies, they're going to have to pull some trickery with the timeline. It might be a little like Ant-Man and the Wasp, where the movie takes place before the end of Avengers, Doomsday, and they just have a post-credit scene that links up with the actual ending that pushes into Secret Wars. There's also been a lot of speculation that Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom could be featured in Spider-Man 4 in some way, because the Russos did make a big deal in Doomsday and Secret Wars about paying off a lot of character relationships with these other older legacy actors coming back as different versions of the characters. And probably one of the biggest twists you could use for the Spider-Man-Iron Man relationship is if his Doctor Doom kills Spider-Man at the end of Doomsday. Then if Kevin Feige really wants to incorporate this whole Knull God of Symbiote storyline, the stuff with the Codex, they can have the Venom symbiote resurrect Tom Holland's Spider-Man and create a new Codex and continue that Knull storyline. But everyone, let me know in the comments, are you happy that they're not doing this whole Punisher Hulk storyline in Spider-Man 4? And how do you think they're going to fit Spider-Man 4 in between Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars without the movie taking place on Battleworld? In related news, though, we obviously have all the Daredevil Born Again episodes that'll be starting soon. I'll be doing videos for all those, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that stuff. Congratulations, Duck Ebe, you're the giveaway winner from my last big Marvel video. Please contact me on the About page of my channel so I can get your details. And yes, I do think there'll be Easter eggs for West Coast Avengers, but they won't actually call them West Coast Avengers. We're probably just going to see a lot of those characters showing up and eventually crossing over with each other. Everybody click here for my Daredevil Born Again trailer video, and click here to learn about all the confirmed characters that are supposed to show up during Avengers Doomsday. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.